On July 18th, 2019, a horrific incident occurred at the Kyoto Animation first studio in Fushimi-ku, Kyoto, Japan. The incident that transpired was an arson attack geared at the studio and left not only 30 plus dead, another 30 plus injured, but also placed a tremendous scar upon the anime world as we know it. Fans, studios, and other people were very quick to offer assistance, and Kyoto Animation has stated that they will not use any of it to help rebuild their own company, that they will stand upon the world with their own 2 feet. The phoenix will rise again from the ashes. This video is dedicated to the many that lost their lives that day, to their families, to their friends, to everyone that knew them, to the many co-workers that will miss them every day. This video is dedicated to all of you. As one anime fan, to the many creators, thank you. Hello everybody and welcome to a very special episode of the anime G.B.U, where I take a look at an anime series and I give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And today, I am doing a very special episode. And yes, I know, while I am still kind of trapped in the anime world, though I am finding my way back slowly, I do have information. I was made aware of the incident that occurred at Kyoto Animation first studio, and as I stated in the opening, this video is dedicated to those whose lives were cut short, lost, to their friends, families, and co-workers, not to mention those who were injured, and the entire staff from Kyoto Animation first studio. I, as an anime fan, would first off like to thank you for everything that you've done. No words could ever express the heartbreak that I felt reading the news article of the incident of that day. The entire world was captivated. Anime fans everywhere came together and showed a slew of support for you. And honestly, we all were with you that day, in spirit, watching over you and hoping that things would get better. Today I'm going to be taking a look at my 2 all-time favorite series that have come out of Kyoto Animation. And these are the 2 series that I honestly enjoy the most. These are the 2 series that to me embody slice of life, a uniqueness to it, and in all honesty, things in general that just captivate everyone. So, without any further ado, allow us to go into what I like to call the Kyoto Animation Special, as I take a look at Hyouka and Haruhi Suzumiya. Today, on the anime G.B.U. When I first stumbled upon Hyouka, it was a long, long time ago. And in all honesty, I did not think much of it when I first started it. I actually thought I might have screwed up and kind of lost my way throughout most of it. However, I am really happy that I stuck with this because at the end of the day, this is one of my favorite series. In fact, if I had to list most of the anime series that I would ever want to watch multiple times if I were given a chance to indefinitely, this is definitely in the top 10. And that's saying something. This is not only a unique show, a wonderful, wonderful story, but at the end of the day, it breathes a whole new life into it. Now, yes, there was a live-action movie for this series as well, and in all honesty, while I haven't seen it, I do mean that, it would probably work. mostly because of what this series is. A slice of life series that's sort of a mystery at the same time. And honestly, I could see that working as a live action. There's no special powers or anything like that. So, yeah. This would be one that I would probably give a pass on, and would probably check it out if I had a chance to. So if you do get a chance, check out Forbidden Secrets and let me know how it is. And if I find it, I'll do a review on it. It won't be a G.B.U. review, but it'll just be a regular review. But anyway, let's get back to the anime series, if I may. So, what is the whole plot of Hyouka? Well, believe it or not, it's a slice of life mystery, and it's a very good slice of life mystery. See, the main character, Oriki Hataro, is basically requested, or pushed, as most of the fans of the show will know, by his older sister to join his high school's classics literature club, so that it's not disbanded. He's not happy about this. He's what most would call a lazy good-for-nothing. Only, he's lazy to a point. His entire motto is, if I don't have to do something, I won't. But if I have to, I'll do it quickly. The only reason why he joined the literature club is because his sister told him that he had to. She requested it of him. And basically, she would probably have nagged him to death if he didn't. So, he doesn't like to waste energy, but he figures, what the hell. He'll join the club, maybe it'll give him a chance to just take a nap during the day. Or just sit there and do nothing. It doesn't really matter to him anyway. So, what happens? Well, he gets sucked into a mystery, because the literature club gets one other member as well. The hyperly energetic, massively powerful in the ways of she can manipulate him to do what she would like to do, Iru Chitanda. And I know I probably mispronounced her name, but in all honesty, just call her Chi. She's an inquisitive girl, joins the literature club because it was something that she's hoping to have solved. Yeah. You're gonna find out about it. Basically, she's hyperly energetic. She's a little bit of a ditz sometimes, but not much. She's very, very intelligent. I know I basically just made an oxymoron, but in all honesty, that's what her character is. Her catchphrase is, "I'm curious," which she often knows, or as it's known in the English dub, "I have to know." They couldn't have just kept the "I'm curious" for the English dub, which would have made more sense. She comes from a lineage of wealthy farmers and is brought up to have this very high esteem of herself. Basically, if she does something that's out of character, it would look bad for her entire family. This plays on later on in the series, especially pretty much past the main bulk of why she joined the club in the first place and why she's hanging out with Oriki. So, yeah. But don't worry, it gets better. You see, Oriki's one other classmate decides to join in as well. Yes. He joins the literature club with him. He's proud of his impressive memory. Who is it? It's Satoshi Fukube. Basically, he calls himself a human database, and he constantly says that a database cannot draw conclusions. In honesty, this is where the story gets a bit interesting. You see, he and the fourth member of our happy little gang of, well, mismatched misfits here, kind of make up the literature club at this point. The fourth member, Mayaka Abara. Yeah, or Ibara. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Anyway, she's the fourth member. She joined after the other three, and the only reason why is because she doesn't like Hotaro. And, really just... I think she joined for another reason, personally, but I don't even think they really truly explained it in the series, and I have seen this series, by the way. It's really good. 22 episodes, though, did not do it justice, because this thing deserves like a massive OVA finisher, like a perfect icing on top. But anyway, let's talk about the series in general. So what exactly happens in Hyouka? Well, with him joining the literature club, or the classics literature club, to stop it from being abolished, Oriki meets, Chi, or Iru. I'm just going to call her Iru. It's going to make it so much easier in the long run. And after a short conversation, he wonders how she was able to enter the room without a key. Because he had to go to the office to get the club room key, which is apparently a science room during the day, and she was already in there. The basics of it is basically she got in there, the janitor locked her in, and that's it. Though Oriki solves this, and, well, yeah, that's how they first met. The next day, though, things get a little more confusing. See, this is where I kind of thought that I sort of misstepped somewhere and I screwed up watching this, because they split this episode and did a very good job of it too, mind you. They split this episode into two different mysteries. Unlike most of the other ones, which was mostly one mystery throughout the whole episode, this one was more like two mysteries, and honestly, I liked that. The next day, he tricks Iru into focusing on a made-up mystery, preventing her from dragging him off to the distant music room and wasting his energy to solve another mystery. However, he solved that mystery on his own and explains it to Satoshi, who was trying to explain the mystery to him because he wanted to know what was going on. Yes, it's quite interesting. This entire series starts off on a well note for me, and it just gets better and better. With the second episode, we're introduced, like I said, to the fourth member of the club, and Hotaro solves another mystery, basically. It's about a book constantly borrowed from the library, and it's only borrowed for a short amount of time, and it's being used, they find out, by the art club. See, apparently, Iru has a tremendously high sense of smell, and in all honesty, had she not been a little under the weather... Oh no, that's for the other mystery. No, she kind of smelled something weird on this one. But yeah, you'll understand. She kind of figures it out, and then Oriki goes from there. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. However, they're disappointed, though, because they want to make an anthology. They couldn't find the past anthologies from the Classics Literature Club in the library, and Iru gets a little disappointed. However, she calls Hotaru the next day because she wants to meet up with him, because she's got a confession to make. See, she wants Oriki to solve the mystery of her uncle, who disappeared. His words made her cry when she was young, and she wants to remember what he said and what happened to him. So Hotaru agrees to help, and basically, yeah, they do. But before all that happens, he receives a letter from his older sister, revealing the location of the past anthologies from the Classics Literature Club. Really. She couldn't have just told him all this beforehand, but sure, what the hell. They end up being in the biology room, which is now run by the news club, and unfortunately, they're not willing to part with them. Well, let me put it this way. They're not willing to have their club room searched. At least the club's president isn't. The reason why is why I made the comment earlier when I accidentally mixed up the two cases, is the fact that Iru's a little under the weather. Had she not have had a bit of a stuffy nose, she would have smelled the tobacco that the kid was smoking. See, that doesn't work. So Oriki basically blackmails the little bastard into giving up the past anthologies, saying, look, it's okay. If you happen to find them, just bring them by the science room and leave them there. No questions asked. We won't say anything. We don't have to look. If you happen to find the safe that they might be in, just drop them by there, and we won't have any need to go get a teacher or anything. We'll give you some time. You can look for them. We won't interfere with you. And he does that. To which he then basically tells Iru and Mayaka, basically, that he was smoking. That was why he didn't want him to search the room. Unfortunately, even though they have the past anthologies, they're missing one. The very first edition. It's missing. And this is not a good thing. And that's only up to episode 4. We're in episode 4, they decide to finally discuss this mystery around Iru's uncle. Each member, basically consisting of Iru, Hotaro, Satoshi, and Mayaka, basically present their summary and research and form their theories, basically. Hotaro ends up going to the toilet and pieces his own theory together from everybody else's because he forgot to do one. Yeah. He explains, though, that Iru's uncle and other students might have negotiated with the teachers not to cut short the period of the cultural festival, the thing that they're planning now, but the price was the uncle's expulsion from the school, and the mystery is solved. All the members leave, but Iru still wonders why she cried at her uncle's words. At episode 5, well, pretty much brings it to light. Hotaro realizes that he still has some holes in his theory after a phone conversation with his sister. He confronts the school librarian, who was one of the only students that was present there. She's now an adult, so of course she would know what happened. She reveals that Iru's uncle was unfortunately forced into taking responsibility for the students' strike from the school shortening the cultural festival. It wasn't basically their idea, but he was the scapegoat. He ended up getting expelled, and his final wish is to name the Classic Literature Club anthology Hyouka, which, translated into English, reveals it to be a pun on ice cream, where it says, "I scream," telling the future Classic Literature Club members to be strong. He is forcibly expelled from the school, and Iru cries once remembering that she questioned her uncle the true meaning of Hyouka. The Classic Literature Club then begins planning on their anthology for the cultural festival. And that's just one arc of this story. It literally is 5 episodes, and it nail bites you from start to finish. I mean, hell, episode 4 is when we find out that Iru comes from a wealthy land of farmers. And that plays out heavily, like I said, later on in the series. From episode 6 on, we get a little more interesting here. And this is one of those series that doesn't have filler episodes, as each episode leads into the next one, and it's really good. Basically, episode 6 deals with a bit of a commotion in the hallway. Hotaro spends the rest of the afternoon doing usually what he does at the literature club, but basically it's just a regular day for him. Anyway, they find out, though, the commotion was due to a class's teacher's misunderstanding, but neither Hotaro nor Iru could figure out why Iru got angry during the commotion. Yeah, she got pissed. That's weird. Anyway, the next episode deals with them going to a hot spring, and which Iru planned. They stay at the inn that belongs to Mayaka's relations, and basically, it's a weird thing. If you've ever seen the One Case Closed episode, you'll kind of know where it's mimicking in a way, but in all honesty, it's not bad. And it's a happy little mystery that, honestly, does lead into more stuff down the road. I mean, we find out more about the background characters in this episode, and like I said, this series does not give fillers. It's really good. However, the next two episodes are definitely where things take a little bit of a strange turn for me. Because this was one little mystery that even I couldn't understand. Okay, it's technically 3 episodes, but still. Here we go. The episodes are dealing with a movie, in a way. It's a mystery production from Class 2F. Now, for those of you that don't know how the Japanese school system works, at least in form of anime, I don't know if this is completely true nowadays anymore with the actual school, but whatever year you are, if you're assigned to that letter from your first year, that's the same letter you're going to have till you're done. So if you're first year, it's 1F. If you're second year, it'd be 2F, and so on and so forth. So Class 2F does a little mystery production. However, their scriptwriter got seriously ill before she could finish the story, so the murder in the story is unknown. Hotaro really doesn't want to have any part of this. He wants nothing to do with this, but unfortunately, he gets suckered into it. I know, it sucks. They ended up going on a behind the production of the film. They learn a little more about it, and they start forming little theories. And each production member's theory of what the ending is of the unfinished film is supposed to be. But the thing is, this is where I got lost. None of them made any sense, and I kind of felt like Oriki did at the start of this. I wanted nothing to do with this. Each person ended up giving a theory. Afterwards, Hotaro, Satoshi, Mayaka, and Iru gave their counter-arguments of agreement or objection to each. Unfortunately, after all the theories were dismissed, they were basically asked to then solve the mystery in a way to avoid failure. And Hotaro surprises all of his friends by going to school during the holiday. Yes, this is a guy that wants nothing to do with anything that involves using up extra energy, and he's going to school during a holiday. Brilliant idea. So, basically, he's trying to figure this out. He thinks he kind of has an idea, and, well, goes from there. But, unfortunately, this is where we get into the next part. I know, it's a little weird. I did say it was a 3-part, but it's more like a 4-part. Each arc seems to be like 4 episodes, some 5. Yeah, even I can get confused too. Plus, I'm looking off the episode guide here too for refreshing. But still, after the other 2 members of the, well, 2 more of the members of the Classics Club, Satoshi and Iru, state why they think the ending created by Hotaro is not the one that the girl wanted, the original scriptwriter, he starts a new round of thinking and reevaluates the facts on a broader perspective than his original video. And honestly, yeah, I still got lost. I didn't care. And in all honesty, by the end of this one, I was just happy. I didn't even joke about that. There's a weird episode in this called 11.5, which is the OVA, that says "To Be Needed." It basically deals with Oriki having to be a lifeguard at a pool because, well, yeah, let's just put it this way. Let's see, how can I do this? Is there a good way to do this? Yeah, he got offered the job by his sister. Yeah. Hotaro got screwed. Big time. Not even gonna lie. His older sister screwed him good. Anyway, skipping past that annoyance one, which basically deals with them trying to find an earring in the pool. There you go. Episode 12, 13, 14, and 15, and 16. Yes. 17? Yeah. Basically, at least the next few episodes deal with the cultural festival. And honestly, this is pretty cool. However, Iru screwed up big time. She ordered a crap ton of copies. They ended up with 200 copies. Okay, oh, Mayaka apparently, but I still swear Iru screwed up too somewhere. Somebody messed up. I don't remember who anymore at this point. I still swear they said it was Iru, but maybe it was Mayaka. I mean, they're saying it was Mayaka here in the thing, but who cares? Anyway, they end up having 200 copies of their anthology. They got to get rid of all these things. However, they have to convince the student council to move their inconveniently placed club to a new stall because they're all the way over in one part of the building, literally at the end of the hall, that nobody's going to come to. Of course, student council says kiss off, which of course they're going to tell you to kiss off. However, they did allow them to kind of peddle their wares periodically. So in other words, they could go around, sell them out in the hallway and stuff like that because they kind of felt sorry for them. They couldn't move them, but here, we'll feel sorry for you. That kind of leads into a weird thing. However, the entire thing with the cultural festival, besides everybody having their own thing, with Mayuka having her manga club that she's part of, and the whole incident of a lost one-shot manga that she's trying to remember the name of, to Iru trying to pitch their club, and Satoshi trying to do everything he can do since he's the human freaking database, Oriki is stuck, poor Hotaro is stuck selling the shit. However, he gets a nice little side story in this whole little arc too, in the form of a bartering system. See, apparently a whole bunch of people came in and started giving him some extra stuff. I don't remember the exact sequence of orders off the top of my head, but a majority of it involved a fake gun, which was given to him by one person, a pin that was given to him by another person, so many other things down the road, which he ended up trading to other people for something else. This included his sister then as well, who stopped by to pick up one of the anthologies, and of course, she wanted one. Figure, she's going to show up and get one of those things. Oh, yeah. Couldn't just ask your brother, hey, you mind bringing me home one? I'll give you the money. No, she actually shows up. Huh. We still don't see her face, though. Inconveniently hidden. But still, she ends up giving him a copy of the manga that Mayuka was looking for. And that solves two different things. However, I think one of the best parts in this, besides the final act of this arc, is the cooking contest. See, Satoshi, Iru, and Mayuka are going to enter this thing. And they plan to advertise a literature club. However, Mayuka is forced to finish advertisements for the Manga Research Society before she can go. So Iru and Satoshi have to cover for the first two parts of the competition. Satoshi does pretty good, Iru does excellent, but Iru uses more of the allotted ingredients that they can have. Now, one of the rules in this that I did like about this little competition in this one that I do remember is that they can get ingredients from anywhere in the school, and that plays in handy because, once again, Oriki's bartering system. Oriki's able to actually hear the entire contest from the window of the club room and yells down to Satoshi and calls him over to the window, dropping down a bag of flour to him, which they take over and use it to win. It's one of my favorite things. See, he got it for a trade for the anthology sale, and yeah. However, they end up finding out that, well, there's missing something. A ladle. The Cooking Club Society, or the Cooking Society, basically gives her another one, but they later discover that there's a note left at the station, signifying that the mysterious thief has struck again. So that's the underlying plot of this entire thing, the massive B section. Besides the side stories for each of the four members of the Literature Club, there's also a mysterious figure that is stealing items. So of course the Literature Club is going to catch them. The Jumonji, as they call themselves, by using Hotaro's skills, doing so while advertising the Classics Literature Club even further. However, Hotaro figures out what the hell is going on pretty quickly here. And he suspects that, going in alphabetical order, they're going to get targeted at some point. The student's surname reveals that the student actually stands 10 letters. So basically, he reveals that their club might be targeted last, which is interesting. He ends up setting up this elaborate little stunt and ruse to try to catch them after so many other clubs have their stuff taken. Unfortunately, they fail as well. yeah. And this is where, like I said, Hotaro's older sister shows up, fulfilling her promise to visit the cultural festival on its last day, and exchanges Mayuka's mirror, which Otaro had, which Oriki had, and Hotaro had. Basically, I know, it's the same name, but I call him Oriki, it's so much better, but his older sister has the same last name. Mayuka's mirror was in Oriki's possession, so his older sister takes that, which she thinks is so cool, and she gives him a copy of the manga that, like I said earlier, A Corpse by Evening, which is what Mayuka was looking for. She couldn't find it at home, and she's terrified. However, to everyone's surprise, she finds the manga fascinating and cannot put it down until she's finished. Well, at least he finds it. And basically, yeah, it's interesting. However, here's where the fun part stands. You see, we know who the final target's going to be, and Hotaro is ready to go. However, he's got a little backup plan here, too, that he's cooking in his head. See, unfortunately, their little plan goes awry, and they themselves also fall victim. However, this was because he kind of figured it out. So, why was that? Well, it turns out it was actually somebody that knew the student council and wanted to make this one pretty cool. And ironically, the school president and vice president were involved in this thing after reading a manga, ironically the one he got from his sister, A Corpse in the Evening. He figured out who it was. So, he blackmails them and says, hey, how about you buy X amount of our anthologies, you know, what we got left, and then you pretty much, play by this and I'll keep my mouth shut. Sell them on the school's site, I don't care. You can make your money back that way, which works out, and he does. However, the mystery does go unsolved technically, though the president kind of figures it out, knows it was the vice president or the other way around. But either way, it was kind of funny. They figure it out, well, at least he does. Oriki knows, and yep, that's how it ends. That's that lovely arc, the cultural festival. Now, afterwards, we do get a couple filler episodes that still help broaden the spectrum of these characters, and really, I enjoy that. There's one that they have to try to figure out why one of their past teachers was interested or had their feelings changed towards helicopters after apparent survival of 3 lightning strikes. Yeah, they figure it out. It has to do with mountain climbing and things like that, but honestly, yeah, it's interesting. Then there's To Whom It May Concern. This one's basically an Hotaro and Iru episode, and honestly, it's one of my favorites. You see, Hotaro challenges Iru to come up with a random mystery for him to solve in order to prove that a theory can be created out of anything, and that Iru can't rely on Hotaro about everything she ponders. After there's an announcement over the school's intercom, Iru settles on having Hotaro figure out why students who went to a local stationery store are being called into the staff room. So, unfortunately, Iru takes the game a little too seriously, becomes dissatisfied with the results, remembering a news flyer about possible robbery and all this other stuff, and it basically ends with them not knowing what the hell's going on. But the next morning, Hotaro sees in the newspaper that culprits of a counterfeiting scheme that they were ironically talking about, or possibility of talking about, were apprehended, confirming the accuracy of Hotaro's mock theory, which I think concerns him a little more than it should have. Yeah. The final few episodes are basically Iru and Hotaro episodes, and honestly, I love every one of them. Wholeheartedly, I love every one. Seriously, I do. The first one deals with New Year's Eve. Yes, this is a pretty interesting one. This is where, like I said earlier, the wealthy family of farmers thing comes into play here. See, Hotaro gets invited to go to the cultural, we'll get to the New Year's Eve thing with Iru. However, he kind of screws up when he agrees to go with her to help retrieve some sake lees from the shrine warehouse. Unfortunately, they search a shed instead and get locked in. Since Iru's representing her father and the regulars at the shrine would recognize her instantly, Hotaro can't call for help, can't damage anything, and if she's seen with him in a precarious situation, it could be bad for her father and her family. Yeah. So, of course, Hotaro has to figure out a unique way to save the day. So, since he remembers that Satoshi was watching the same drama that he had, he throws out Iru's purse, which Mayaka recognizes since she's working the Lost and Found, and a few other items. String that Hotaro tied around it, signaling from the drama that its contents are trapped. Satoshi rushes to the shed and rescues the two of them. Yes, that was just one episode, but like I said, it stands the test of time. You have episode 21 where it's the chocolate files, and this one gets a little weird. Now, while this isn't truly a 100% Iru Hotaro episode, and it focuses more on Satoshi and Mayaka, it still centers on Iru and Hotaro just a little bit more, since Hotaro's forced to kind of solve the mystery, and Iru wants to know the answer as well. See, it's Valentine's Day, and Mayaka is going to attempt to give Satoshi to accept her feelings. Yeah, it fails. At least the last year of junior high it failed. This time around, she is persistent. She asks Iru for help to make an even better chocolate than she made the last time. Hotaro ends up running into Satoshi at a city arcade, contemplates the fact that he seems to have lost his competitiveness from the year before, and yeah. Mayaka leaves the chocolate she made in the club room, but it disappears. Hotaro attempts to figure out who stole it, but he already has an idea. He knows what it is. Mayaka is discouraged. She's heartbroken. Iru runs after her as Mayaka attempts to run home, and basically Hotaro confronts Satoshi about hiding the chocolate. Satoshi explains that though he does want to be with Mayaka, he stopped becoming obsessed with everything and could not risk becoming obsessed with her. Mayaka later reveals to Iru that she knew Satoshi had taken it and that he was afraid of giving her an answer. Later that night, Iru thinks Hotaro thanks him for his help. Satoshi calls Mayaka, telling her that he has something to speak to her about. We don't know what it is. We're assuming that he finally told her to get over it since Oriki was ready to kick his ass. But the final episode is where I kind of think the series went to pot a bit, but in a good way. And before somebody goes, what the hell does that mean? Well, this is about the point where the series kind of went downhill. But it's the last episode, so it kind of feels like a rush job. Basically, Iru asked Hotaro if he could be an umbrella carrier during the Hina Doll Festival. Well, yeah, he says, what the hell? Unfortunately, he gets stopped along the way by an impending construction of a small bridge. He's able to get through because they hadn't started yet, but unfortunately, while he's warming up by a nice little heater because it's freezing cold out, and the people are quickly figuring out everything for the festival, they say, okay, let's go down. Okay, we got the route picked out. Okay, what about the bridge? Yet the bridge is fine. They're not doing construction. Which Hotaro remembers, no, wait a minute. They are doing construction on that bridge. I just barely got across before they started. What? They quickly send somebody down to confirm it, and yeah, it's true. They can't. So now they have to find a new way to go. A young man with brown hair, though, suggests they pass through the next bridge. And while it's not a bad idea, unfortunately, some politics come into play here, and it turns out that that's part of another jurisdiction. However, Oriki gets summoned to Iru, who wants to ask him a question. He's caught off guard, though, by her full garb and extensive makeup, and is distracted during the entire procession. But prior to this, She asks if everything's okay. He explains what's going on, and she goes, okay, let him know I'll take care of it. She contacts the people of the next town and asks them if they can go through, which they said, yes, not a problem, because, again, wealthy family of farmers. Like I said, this plays in heavily during the last act. Because of this, they're able to proceed, and while it's quite interesting, well, basically, yeah, it's really cool. Hotaro gets distracted because, for once, Iru's caught him off guard. His entire guard is shattered for once, and honestly, it's really funny. She decides to follow him, and yeah, everything's good. Afterwards, she wants to know if Hotaro's figured out who allowed the bridge construction to go on. Both of them decided it was the young man with the brown hair. Yeah. They figured it out because of the cherry blossoms. It's the one time that would have actually happened. The Hinadal Festival at the same time the cherry blossoms were blooming. The episode ends with Iru talking with Hotaro about what her goals are after they graduate. She's been taking science classes to help discover a way to grow crops more efficiently. Iru explains that she does not see much potential for growth in the town, but says that no matter what, she would always return to it, and says that she had wanted Hotaro to see that part of her, which he does. Hotaro begins to tell her that he would want to help her with her dream, but stops, commenting on the weather being cold. She happily exclaims that spring has arrived, and the wind blows through the nearby cherry blossom trees. Thus ends Hyouka. This was seriously one of the best series that I have had the pleasure of seeing in a long time. And honestly, I couldn't think of anything better. This series just screams uniqueness. But, as always, we need to do the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, what's good about this? Every goddamn thing. I'm not even going to lie. I don't think I have one negative thing to describe. At least there's no ugly for this. I can safely say that. Short episodes, meh. Okay, I might have one thing that I'd have to throw in there, but otherwise, this series is good. Plot-wise, it's unique. Characters are definitely deep and engaging. The animation and art style are flawless in this. Bad, I would have to go with the cheesiness of the one arc. That stupid horror story arc. I couldn't enjoy that. I couldn't get behind it. I didn't like it. But that's fine. It wasn't geared towards me. It's geared towards other people. As for ugly, if I had to pick something for ugly, honestly, if I had to pick something, I would have to go with that ending. It felt like it opened up the door to so much more that we're never going to get. An OVA movie or something would have been nice, just to finally, 100% finish this out. Something. I know that there was only one volume of the manga, and there was only there was 11, volumes of the light novel, and oh no, that was the other thing. Never mind. Sorry, I'm looking at something else. There's, a few different things that happened with this one. Yeah, ignore that last part. There's a few different things, but this was based off of a light novel and everything else. So, while I would have liked at least one more conclusion in this, yeah, it felt like it. And yeah, I do apologize. I have something else up on my screen. I thought I still had that page up. My apologies. But yeah, while I do like the series, and in all honesty, I felt like it was really good. Like I said, to me, it was more like a sort of, it missed a couple things. It missed a spot where it could have definitely been unique. It could have definitely brought so much more to the table. I just don't know why or anything else. But basically, okay, there was 12 volumes of the manga. I know that there was a light novel series. There's other novels. There was a novel series about this that came out in 2001. 12 volumes of the manga, and 22 episodes plus the OVA of the actual anime. So yes, I do apologize for that. That was a slip of the tongue. Don't hold it against me. I make mistakes. I'm human. But still, Hyouka is definitely a series that if you ever get a chance to watch, even basking in a trailer for it, I recommend it. Now, this is one of those that I could hear somebody go, subbed or dubbed. Go for both. Funimation recently announced a couple, like maybe about a year ago, that they were going to dub this thing. And in all honesty, the voices match it perfectly. That's one of the issues I occasionally have with sub versus dub animes, is that, and I know I just said that the anime may have dub character voices that don't match the characters, but this one does. The Japanese subtitles work out really well. If you don't understand a lot of Japanese lore, I would recommend the subtitles. It kind of helps patterns it out a little bit. But if you don't like subtitles, dubbed is just as good. This was just recently brought into the dubbed world courtesy of Funimation, and I highly recommend checking out this series. So, that was Hyouka. I give it a 5 out of 5. Definitely. Okay, now stop me if you've heard this one before. Haruhi Suzumiya. I'm almost certain that everyone has heard the name Haruhi Suzumiya. Yes, I'm almost positive you've heard this name at some point. If you are not familiar with it, then either you've lived under a rock for a few dozen centuries, or you honestly just don't know anime. Don't worry, I'll teach you. Haruhi Suzumiya is the tale of a girl named Haruhi Suzumiya who wants to set up the SOS Brigade. She basically doesn't want to deal with anyone. However, she seeks out supernatural phenomenon and figures, such as aliens, time travelers, and espers, which she openly says to her class in high school. Especially her one classmate, Keion. Yes, he gets dragged along by her, yes, in order to establish the SOS Brigade. Short for, and I'm not making this up by the way, spreading excitement all over the world with Haruhi Suzumiya Brigade. Yeah. The SOS Brigade. Spreading excitement all over the world with Haruhi Suzumiya Brigade. Wow. Yeah. Alright. Basically, they do this to investigate mysterious events happening pretty much within their high school. Yeah, it's weird. However, Haruhi recruits 3 other members. Oh, this is weird. I'm not even going to lie. The iconic bibliophile Yuki Nagato, the shy and timid Mikuru Ashiyana, Ashihina. Okay, my apologies. And the unflappable transfer student, Itsuki Kozumi. These members soon reveal themselves to Keion to be the types of extraordinary characters that Haruhi seeks. Yes, you're about to enter a whole new world of weird. I present to you Haruhi Suzumiya. Yeah, honestly, this is one of those weird series. It starts off as a wonderful little slice of life kind of thing that immediately just takes a complete backdrop straight into science fiction, comedy, and just straight up insanity. But it did. It started off as a nice little slice of life thing. Like, hey, look, I go to a high school. Yeah, okay, I got a weird-ass classmate. Yeah, okay. I am Haruhi Suzumiya. I am interested in aliens, time travelers, and espers. Okay, we're now officially done with slice of life. We're straight into screw youville here. Yeah, that's basically the whole gist of it. And honestly, it's quite funny. However, it's just, yeah. They've been sent by their respective secret organizations to observe Haruhi, who is unaware that she possesses destructive reality warping powers. And to prevent these powers from being unleashed, Each of the three believed that they would be dangerous were Haruhi to discover she had such powers. Together with Keion, they worked to keep life interesting for Haruhi and to prevent her from becoming bored enough to imagine a new world, as they and their organizations fear that this would destroy the current world. So I just want to know once again how we went from what seemed to be starting off as a slice of life kind of deal and immediately take an entire massive jump step into science fiction. I mean, I'm not arguing this. This is pretty damn cool, but how? And this lasted 28 episodes and a movie. Yes, there was a movie. Oh, you didn't know about the movie? Oh, my bad. Yeah, this is one of the unique things, and this was one of the major ones produced by Kyoto Animation. It contained 14 episodes that aired in Japan between April 2nd and July 2nd of 2006. Aired in a non-linear order, with the prologue and the first 7 chapters of the first novel intermixed with chapters from some of the later novels. The next episode previews feature 2 different episodes, numbering one numbering from Haruhi, who numbers the episodes in chronological order, and one from Keion, who numbered them in broadcast order. However, the series ended up getting a second season, which was basically a rebroadcasting of everything with newer episodes. Yeah. A little weird here, too. Then there was the entire film that brought everything to a closure. The disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Which, I again want to stress something. That's what I started this on. I first saw the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya before I actually watched the anime series. And honestly, after watching the anime series, I'm kind of amazed that I was able to. Yeah, I know. Yeah, the second season was basically part of the re-airing of the whole series, with new episodes mixed in with the first season's episodes based on their chronological... Yeah, they basically put them in the right order, I guess you want to say. I could describe this as best I could, but in all honesty, I could not. Yeah. If you look it up on the Wikipedia thing, which, by the way, I'm doing so I don't get lost on this one, if you go by the D section for the episodes, that's what aired in 2009's broadcast, chronological order for both seasons. E is season 2's episode order. Yes. However, episode 1 just goes straight up, but again has the same issue, only with A being the TV broadcast order and B being the season 1 chronological order. C being DVD's season 1 DVD episode order, D the broadcast order 2009, and yeah, you get the whole gist of it. And honestly, it makes weird sense. I would go into each episode like I did with Hyouka, but again, they're not in order. So if I would want to do it as a TV broadcast order, I'd be fine. Otherwise, I would have to go on to what happened first, which would be B for the season 1 chronological order, and start off with episode 11. And honestly, I'm more confused here than I ever was before. Basically, Keion enters high school for his first year. He meets the girl. Like I said, we went from slice of life to completely just blowing that shit right out of the water. And that's just part 1 of the opening 2-part episode. Yes. I'm not even joking. The series does get a little bit weird though, but again, for what this series is, I could expect nothing less. See, in part 2 or episode 2, however you want to do it, at least if you're going by the DVD chronological order and not the actual chronological order of the precious TV broadcast, Haruhi begins to improve the appearance of the club room, obtaining a computer by staging photos making it look like the Computer Research Society president sexually harassed Mikuru. I'm not even joking here. She ends up enlisting Mikuru to help promote the SOS Brigade, dressing her up in a buddy costume and handing out flyers. Yeah. Yuki ends up inviting Keion over to her apartment, and she reveals that she and Haruhi are not ordinary human beings. And that's just part 2. There's like freaking 4, 5, 6 parts to this. 6 parts to the Mechcoly of Haruhi Suzumiya. It's a 6-part opening. I just can't begin to stress how weird this is, but in a fun and unique way. The stories do differ from time to time, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's weird. The last episode that I actually saw was episode 14 in DVD order, or episode 9 in broadcasting order. Someday in the Rain. Winter settling in, Haruhi orders Keion to go pick up a heater. With him gone, she takes pictures of Mikuru in various costumes for the movie's DVD cover. Yes, they were making some type of a movie. It's, don't even ask. Itsuki helps, and Yuki is left alone to read. When Keion returns, he finds only Yuki in the club room and falls asleep, waiting for the others. He's woken by Haruhi, the only other student who hasn't gone home, putting her cardigan on him and, to help keep him warm. Haruhi is mortified at being caught by Keion, but Keion is only interested in the fact that he also has Yuki's cardigan. Haruhi is in a good mood, and she and Keion share an umbrella on the walk home through the rain. That was the last episode that I had saw online. Now, the very last episode, like I said, is basically the disappearance, but going in weird-ass alphabetical order from... how'd Season 2 go again? Oh yeah, that's right. 2009 broadcast order is D, and Season 2 DVD order is E. So, if I remember correctly, there was, 28 episodes of this thing? So that's what? I'm more confused now than I think I've ever been in my entire life. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the final episode is entitled The Sigh of Haruhi Suzumiya Part 5. Deciding Yuki needs a familiar for her role, Haruhi picks up a stray male calico cat. Yes. It's just weird. The cat ends up talking as a result of Haruhi's powers. Itsuki suggests reminding Haruhi that her movie is fictional. However, before reality incurs further damage, Mikuru and Yuki share their independent views about Haruhi. Keion convinces Haruhi to add a disclaimer over the credits saying it's a work of fiction. After the filming, Keion and Haruhi remain at the club room overnight to do the editing. They both fall asleep but awake the next day to find the movie has been completed. In a flashback to May, Keion tells Haruhi the truth about the other club members, but she does not believe him. Yes, I'm not even going to joke about this. This entire series is both confusing and entertaining at the same time. But if you really want the proper conclusion, you have to check out The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, which follows the events from The Mechcoly of Haruhi Suzumiya, the television series, taking place from December 16th until Christmas Eve. A month after the cultural festival, the SOS Brigade makes plans to have a nabe party for Christmas. However, on the morning of December 18th, Keion arrives at school to find that the very nature of his reality has changed. Haruhi and Itsuki are missing. Hyouka has mysteriously returned, Mikuru does not recognize him, and Yuki is an ordinary human. Only Keion is aware that everything is different, and no one else remembers anything about Haruhi or the SOS Brigade. This is just an interesting series throughout anything else. And the movie just ties it all in beautifully. Basically, K-On! Now has to figure out what the hell is going on and trying to get everything back to normal. At least normal for him. Yeah. The only clue K-On! Manages to find is a bookmark left by the alien version of Yuki before everything was changed. It tells him to gather keys to run a program. Yeah, he gets to know the new Yuki, who appears to be quite fond of him. As December 20th comes, K-On! Learns from Taniguchi that Haruhi was at another high school the whole time, along with Itsuki and others formerly from his school. By revealing his identity to her as John Smith, an alias that he used when he traveled back in time to assist young Haruhi, he manages to convince Haruhi to believe his story. With her assistance, they gather the SOS Brigade together in the club room and bring the keys necessary for the program to be built by the alien Yuki. I'm just going to throw this out there. It's weird, but it's fun. But it's weird, and it's fun. But it's weird. Like, very, very weird. Not even gonna lie. 162 minutes of weird. K-On! Questions himself about his choice and thinks that a normal world without the SOS Brigade and Haruhi would be calm and peaceful. And thinks that Yuki was tired of everything she had to do, like monitoring Haruhi's behavior, protecting K-On! Finally decides that his ordinary world was more interesting and fun. He tries to install the program into Yuki, but is stabbed by Ryoko, who had retained her psychotic behavior. However, before Ryoko can finish him off, he is rescued by future counterparts of Yuki, Mikuru, and himself. He wakes up a few days later in a hospital where the world is back to normal. Almost everyone believes K-On! Had been in a coma since the 18th after falling down the stairs. Yes. That's just interesting. As December 24th comes along, everyday life returns, and K-On! Decides there is still time before he has to go back in time to save himself and decides to join the Christmas party. And honestly, that's where I got lost. Look, I'm not going to lie, I liked the series. The movie was fine, but if you watch this out of order, this is like the X-Files. You're going to get lost very quickly if you don't know what in the holy hell is going on. But still, this is not a bad series, and the movie was a good way to close off the entire thing. Though, yes, it leaves a massive middle finger to everyone that was watching it, and in all honesty, it leaves me scratching my head half a dozen times to wonder what in the hell is going on. Still, it's not a bad show. As far as the series goes, yes, it's a little weird, especially with the out-of-order episodes. However, it's definitely worth checking out. Okay, sure, it probably has some stuff in that's going to turn off some people, I'm not going to lie. But at the end of the day, its weirdness is what makes it so unique. It's interesting. Look, basically, you want an entire club that consists of nothing but aliens, time travelers, and espers. You're looking at something that's definitely going to be going on the weird train. And weird is something you're just going to be snuggling up with throughout this entire series. And I know the one thing that everyone's going to know the series for. That ending. Tell me you don't remember the ending to Haruhi Suzumiya. I'll wait. I dare you to tell me you don't remember that ending. Everyone remembers the ending to Haruhi Suzumiya. It's impossible to forget it. Hell, the cast even got back together and did the ending theme. They danced to it. So, let's get into what's good, what's bad, and what's ugly about this one. So what's good about this? Well, It's definitely got something going for it that no other anime series to this day has managed to do. It's got weirdness of an epic proportion. And yes, even Pop Team Epic's level of stupidity of weirdness doesn't even come close to this one. This is just unique weirdness in a good way. It's basically, what would you do if you were an all-powerful deity? You get bored, you can snap your fingers and make a whole new world, a whole new reality. What would you do? Anything you can damn well please. Sure, I don't kind of like how some of it goes, and if you watch this thing out of order, you are going to get lost. And that's definitely the bad with this. You have to watch this in a certain order. Now, it depends on how you want to watch it. Do you want to watch it in the way it was on television, in chronological order, or by the DVDs? That's up to you. Whichever way you want to watch it. This kind of adds to the weirdness of it. The fact that you're not watching the episodes in order, yet they're in order. The non-linearness of it definitely makes it a lot more unique. You could be thinking, okay, what's going to happen here? Only to be seeing something that's never happened yet, referencing the conclusion to what you had just watched earlier. It's an interesting sort of deal with this, and plays in quite well to what the story has to do. It's sort of a good and bad in a way. It's bad for the fact that you don't know how you're going to be watching this series. If you're going to be watching it in straight up chronological order, episodic order, or by event. Or you're going to be watching this thing as it was intended to be watched. But at the same time, that's what makes it so unique. As far as ugly goes, I'm not going to lie, Haruhi's annoying as hell. Look, everybody has had that one classmate in their lives that's just so annoying, so gung-ho with everything, that you know she has to be that way. Or he or she, both of which could be that way. We've all had a classmate like that. In Haruhi's case, she is nuts. Pure, unadulterated crazy. When you purposely get up in your class, say your name, and say that if you're not an alien, a time traveler, or an Esper, I don't want anything to do with you, that's where you gotta wonder what the hell they're smoking. But at the same time, you'll also kind of want to know more about them. See, this is one of those weird series that I can't give any decent rating on. I can't say, I can tell you what's good about it, but then if I try to nitpick something, at the same time it balances itself out. The badness of the non-linear episodes balances out with the fact that it just adds to the weirdness that the series gives you. The fact that the character's crazy, and I mean batshit crazy, balances out with the fact that you want to learn more about her and learn more about what her deal is. Each one of the characters has a uniqueness to themselves that honestly you wouldn't expect from any series like this. And, I mean, I like it. It's kind of hard to gauge this one. It's one of those series that the more you watch it or the more you know about it, the more interesting it becomes. But of course, you're going to have those people that don't want anything to do with it or just don't want to watch it because, and I respect that. Believe me, I do. There's a level of weirdness that everyone's willing to accept, and there's a level of crazy that everyone's willing to accept. And we as human beings are not going to want to go over those limits. I myself am like that a few times as well. There's a certain level of stupidity that I'm willing to accept as normal, and then there's a certain level of stupidity that I'm willing to say is over the line. When it comes to Haruhi Suzumiya, this one is definitely a full-blown 100% cuckoo crazy train. But she does it in a good way. Like I said, it's one of those weird series that I could tell you something that I find bad about it or ugly about it, but at the same time, it balances itself out with the good. The good is just this massive statue, and no matter how much you throw on that you think is bad or ugly, it balances itself out because it's counterbalanced by everything that's good about it. It's just one of those weird shows that's interesting. It's weird in a good way. So, yeah. I got to give this thing a solid 5 out of 5 on this one too, because this is one that, even if you don't want to watch it, just check out a trailer or a couple clips of it. But above everything, don't watch the movie before you watch the series. That's the one thing I got to stress. Watch the series first, then watch the movie, because the movie makes much less sense before watching the series. Now, granted, since I saw the movie first, I was able to follow along because they kind of explained a lot of the stuff in there, but at the same time, it didn't make as much sense until after I watched the series. And keep in mind, the last episode that I had watched online was the last episode of the first season. I saw bits and pieces and clips of the second season because by the time I saw it, everything was thrown in together. So for me, I concluded that the series ended with Keion falling asleep on the desk and Haruhi just being there. Which would make sense because then that would be sort of the linear thing as to why everything had to change in the movie. But then again, that's my interpretation of it, which you will have if watching this. You'll have your own interpretation that will differ from everybody else's. You'll think it's one thing and it could be something totally different, and still, you're not technically wrong. It's just, it's weird, entertaining. It's Haruhi Suzumiya. Definitely a 5 out of 5. Can't argue on that one. Alright, that's been my very special episode of the anime G.B.U, dedicated to Kyoto Animation, to the people whose lives were lost, and to the many people who will always remember them. But don't just take the 2 series that I watched for granted. In all honesty, those were just 2 series out of a magnitude of things that they've done. I'm not even joking. Just alone, they have done a tremendous amount of work. From Full Metal Panic, Air in Summer, Full Metal Panic, Second Round, Canon, Lucky Star, Clannad and Clannad After Story, K-On!, so many others. There's an entire slew of series. Beyond the Boundary, Free Eternal Summer, Amagi Brilliant Park, Sound Euphorium, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Violet Evergarden, Free Dive to the Future, and those are just the television series. They've also done films as well. So many things. Tamako Love Story, High Speed Free Starting Days, A Silent Voice. So many things. And it's not just, that. There's just so much stuff that they've done. I was only able to talk about a small thing that they've done, a small amount that they've done. And honestly, that's just scratching the iceberg. It's the tip of the iceberg of what Kyoto Animation has done. So, as I said in the opening, from one anime fan to another, and from one anime fan to a massive animation studio and a company such as yourselves, my heart goes out to you for your loss and for everything that has happened to you. And honestly, I'm looking forward to what the future holds. Because, beyond a doubt, you're one hell of a studio. And you have done a lot of good stuff. So, here's looking up to you. And until next time, thank you for tuning in to this very special episode of the Anime G.B.U. I'm Andrew, and farewell for now, until we meet again.